Many years ago, I came up with a method for improving my business, and it works 100% of the time. And I created a deck of cards out of 3x5 cards. I call them my business brainstorming cards. Since then, the phrase disruptive technology has come out. So I look at it as kind of like the disruptive brainstorming. It's out of the box thinking. I hate using that word, out of the box, or that phrase that is so overused. You know, in business, in pop culture, there becomes like phrases. Like right now, everyone's talking about space. In your space, you need to develop this in your space. Like, I'm just so tired of the words that people are using, and I see it comes like, there's like trends, and then they disappear, and then no one will use the word space anymore. For a year or two now, we've been hearing disruptive technology. For instance, anything on demand, Airbnb, Lyft, Uber, all disruptive technologies. Gary Vee talks about Russian relatives that are taxi drivers, and they wanted to build up the business and sell it and retire early, and then Uber came out. But they laughed at him when he talked about, all you do is you pick up your phone and you hit a couple buttons, and a driver shows up at your business, at your house, and takes you where you want to go. It includes the tip. And his taxi driver relatives, laughed. You young foolish man, you mean that someone's just going to take their phone and press a button and a car will show up at their house? Yes, sure. Well, guess what happened? Those taxi companies, after Uber and Lyft came out on the market, were worth about 15 cents on the dollar. Nobody who owns a taxi company is going to be retiring soon. Let me put it that way. So technologies come along, trends come along that are disruptive. So I created what I call business brainstorming cards. And I want to share one of those things. I'm going to do a whole series on business brainstorming. This is for anyone who's in business. This has worked for me 100% of the time. So the first thing I want to ask you is this. Do you realize that size can matter when it comes to your business? Upsize or downsize a product. Case in point, if you made a miniature version of your product, if you're in the product business, if you made a miniature version of your product, would it be able to sell? If you made a large version of your product, would it be able to sell? Think about that. I know a guy that made furniture, like real furniture that you sit in, a furniture maker. He was a woodworker. And his Windsor chairs were, they were $2,500. And I'll never forget consulting with him, and he was a phenomenal guy, but nobody was spending that kind of money, or nobody wanted to, or very few wanted to spend that kind of money on his furniture. So he started making, and this is you got to listen close to this. This is brilliant. He started making miniature versions of his Windsor chairs. It reminds me of the window designer who was actually making windows for doll houses. In the same way, he was making doll-sized chairs and making great money, and his power tools went from like a large woodworking shop and finishing shop, to using Dremels and everything on a small workbench. He downsized his product. Think about that. Think how powerful that is, and the market that you can penetrate when you downsize a product. That's pretty badass if you think about it. Making window treatments, beautiful, beautiful curtains and shades that are this big for dollhouses. You might think dollhouses. My God, who has dollhouses? I used to think that once, because when I drove limo, I used to pick up women. There was one weekend where I was doing nothing. I picked up hundreds and hundreds over a period of 2 weeks. There was a scrapbooking convention in Philadelphia. I'm like, scrapbooking? What the hell? Like, who's making any money with scrapbooking? And this is a beautiful thing. If you drive Uber or drive limo, you have an opportunity, especially if you're transporting business people, you have an opportunity to hear what people do for a living and ask them questions. It's almost like a business consulting session, because you might have someone who makes $50,000 a year in your back seat as you're transporting them. You might have someone who makes $50 million a year in your back seat and you don't know. If people wanted to sit quietly and have a peaceful ride, that was one thing. If people wanted to have a chat that wasn't prying, wasn't personal, people are happy to talk about their business. It blew me away how huge the damn scrapbooking industry is. And there were women who were multi-millionaires in the scrapbooking world. In the dollhouse world, people who make miniatures of everything, the people who have dominated that space, I'll use that as a joke, have made a fortune. What can you downsize or upsize? Have you ever seen large versions of everything? Large toothbrushes, large scissors. What can you make a small or large version of? A giant, realistic, large toothbrush can make a great sign. A large, giant, realistic pair of scissors is great for a ribbon cutting, an opening ceremony for a business. Have you ever seen furniture stores with a giant chair in the front, like a giant rocking chair? A giant version of it. So what in your business, if at all possible, can you miniaturize, downsize, or upsize? So here's some cool action pieces, and in my business brainstorming cards, or I'll actually modernize the phrase, my disruptive technology card deck. Is there a market for something small? A small version of what you do? Or is there a market for something huge of what you do? For instance, I have a lot of guys that make beard products. That's my initial audience for this channel, which has spread greatly. What if you made a 1 year size? Buy Beard Balm once a year. No more 1 ounce or 2 ounce tins. What if you made a 10 ounce tin? People, and there's no reorder. People buy once. A yeared kit. What if you had a year's worth of beard oil, a year's worth of beard balm, a year's worth of mustache wax, large versions of it, okay? What if you made the world's largest beard balm tin? Holy cow. Find a metal worker who makes tins, who can make a tin for you. Now, it leads me to my next question. When you upsize something or downsize something, think about this. This is real important. Is it something that can be newsworthy? Is making the largest tin of beard balm a newsworthy item? How much publicity can you get now with social media where more people will see your product or your idea more than ever for free? Free. If something is newsworthy, news organizations, papers, bloggers, YouTubers will feature you for free. Forget the paying for shout outs. For free. Make something small, make something really large. Is there a market for it? And if there is it newsworthy? There's a disruptive way of thinking about your product or business. This is video number 1. I hope that helps. There's many, many more to come, because I'm going to be sharing my business brainstorming card deck with you one at a time. I hope that helps. Thanks a lot.